Welcome back, Nick Lenz's Comic Corner. Classics last non-classics. Okay. Anyways, this is episode number 392 and Doubleshot number 315. Okay. First up, it's Wonder Woman Volume 8. Twist of Fate, written by Meredith Finch, with David Finch on most of the issues in here, except for about 2 of them. This collects Wonder Woman Volume 4, issues 41 to 47. The first 6 issues in here, it's just sort of the follow-up. It's the next chapter, per se, of the whole Donna Troy stuff and her development. There's a reference in here what happened in the second arc of Deathstroke, which you can kind of place that between the first arc Finch did and the second arc, between the previous volume and this one, because, well, they referenced the whole God Killer sword that Deathstroke had, so you can kind of throw it in there. And when you read that series, Wonder Woman is still wearing her Jim Lee attire, not this attire just yet. And I should point out, though, she only wears this outfit in this book just for 41 to 46, and then she's back to the Jim Lee look. Though she keeps the gauntlets. Yeah, she keeps the gauntlets with the sword sticking out. Yeah, she keeps those. And also, Donna Troy. And there's also something with this guy here, this Archer guy who really wants to kill Wonder Woman. Yeah, he's basically the main villain of this whole story, along with the Goddess of Peace. Her name is Eros, I think her name is. Yeah. She apparently hired him to kill Diana just so that he can become the new God of War. And also, Donna starts wearing this attire here in this very arc. Though for some reason when she goes Titans Hunt, she's back to the first look, and now she's wearing a completely different attire. I don't really know why. I love the fact that the 41-46 is basically a split focus between Diana looking for Donna and a lot of development for Donna Troy. Meredith Finch does a great job developing the character really well. And of course, the character, of course, chronologically next appears in the pages of Titans Hunt, which led into Titans, which I've reviewed Titans Hunt before. You can check it here on the channel. You probably have to look it up exactly what episode. It's been a while since I reviewed it. I don't remember what episode it was on. The last issue in here is just a standalone issue featuring Cheetah. Yeah, it was the first of 4 standalone issues in a row before they got to the 2-part finale for this volume. Now, I'm still a little curious of why the heck Meredith Finch was removed as a writer. I'm glad the fact Greg Rucka was brought into the book, but currently right now Meredith Finch is Rose. I wouldn't mind it if she came back, though, because I've heard Greg Rucka is leaving soon. But I don't know what issue, but I heard soon he's going to leave. Okay? But this is a good story. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Meredith Finch does a great job with this. And this is the last of the Meredith Finch trades I have to review. But for that volume, there's one more trade to review, and that's the last trade for Brian Azzarello's run. Okay? I don't have that with me. I don't know when I'm going to get that book. Okay, next up is Batman Arkham. Man Bat. This collects some classic stories, features him. Batman 400, 402, and 407. All written by Frank Rippins and artwork by the awesome Neil Adams. Yeah, it's Neil Adams artwork just by looking at it. Yep. With, yeah, these 3 are just the origin of... And here's something really weird, though. And despite the fact that 400, 402, and 407, it's kind of like a 3-parter, but they threw in filler issues because this was the 70s. It's not like today, if this was an arc, that they would have just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They would do that in a row. Back then, they couldn't do that because, well, things were back then. There's also Man-Bat issues 1 and 2. The first issue is written by Jerry Conway, and the artwork is done by Steve Ditko with artwork by Al Milgram. You know, as I mentioned that because Conway later worked with the guy on Firestorm. The second issue is done by Martin Pizzico with he writes the book with Pablo Marquez as the artist for the book. The covers for both of those 2 issues are done by the late Jim Apro. Okay, Secret Origins number 39, which is just one of the 3 retellings of Man-Bat's origin story, though the other one basically is a little more closer to this one. It's written by Jim Strand, and the artwork is done by Kevin Nolan. Showcase number 11, that's written by Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon writes also the next few issues as well. Artwork by Flint Henry. Then there's the Man-Bat miniseries from 1996, which is the second volume Man-Bat series, with pretty much the same creative team as the Showcase issue. Chuck Dixon on the writing, and Flint Henry on the artwork. There's also Lenz Dark Knight number 5, which is written by Chuck Dixon. This one's actually more closer to the Neil Adams origin story, with Quirtik Akintia. I think that's how you pronounce the guy's name. I don't know. If mispronounced it, I'm sorry. There's also in here the second volume of Batman Black and White, issue number 2, written by DC co-publisher Dan DiDio, and artwork by J.T. Jones, with cover art by the awesome Jim Strand. I would have loved to meet the guy when I was at MegaCon Comic-Con a few years ago, but I never got a chance to meet him. And the last issue in here is Hit the Comics Volume 2, issue 23.4, written by Frank Terry and artwork by Scott Eden. Jason Fabok does the cover with Nathan Faborn. These are all just really classic stories. Like the first 3 issues are sort of continuous, and then of course you have in here the 2 Man-Bat issues. I should point out though, the 2 Man-Bat issues were released sort of bi-monthly. It was a schedule they had back then, not like monthly like it is nowadays. Basically, the first issue came out in January of 1976. The second issue came out 2 months later. Excuse me. That's how things were done back then. Nowadays, if people do that, people scoff at companies for doing that. But yeah, I know that there was one mini-series like that. There's 2 mini-series I've seen recently did that. One is Dead Man, Dark Mansion of Love. 3-issue miniseries released every couple months, and also the Supergirl Being Super miniseries, which the next issue I think is coming out next month. Yeah. Now you probably think, oh, one thing I thought was a little odd though for this particular trade, they didn't throw in Man-Bat solo stories, Batman Family, nor did they throw in his team up issue that he did in Batman Brave in the series Brave and the Bold. I'm a little surprised they didn't throw that in here. I mean, there's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's only 13 stories in here. I would think they would throw those in here, but nope. I guess they just want to focus on Man-Bat being a villain, or somewhat. Despite the fact, nowadays when people think of Man-Bat, he's more depicted as a hero than as a villain. He was started out as a villain. Now, according to Neil Adams, what he explained to me about how he was conceived is that Man-Bat was conceived as a Batman fanboy, and that's the reason why he wanted to do this. You know, turn himself into this. Though he was also trying to cure himself of deafness. And despite the fact Frank Ribbons is credited as the co-creator of Man-Bat, Neil Adams is the one who created him. I asked him, why was Frank Ribbons listed as the co-creator for Man-Bat, even though, and he said he didn't know. Why? Even though he's the one who created this character, he did everything for this character. Frank Ribbons is the one who just wrote him. This is according to how Neil Adams told me when I saw him for the second time at Tampa Comic-Con. I think it was last year, I believe it was. Yeah, it was second year in a row I actually saw him at Tampa Comic-Con. I don't know when I'm going to see him again at Comic-Con. He was always a nice guy to talk to. And he also, the way he told me, he's a big fan of Green Arrow. He heavily respects Green Arrow. And he enjoyed doing the character with Danny O'Neill back in the 70s. But, yeah, there's no Danny O'Neill stuff in here, surprisingly. And I don't think Danny O'Neill ever wrote a book with Man-Bat in it, surprisingly. But this is still good. I give this a 9 out of 10. All the issues in here are really good. Well, there is one thing, I gotta point this out, though. The second volume of Man-Bat, the one by Frank Henry, yeah, the artwork is kind of bad. I mean, look at this. This is so bizarre. Everybody's got pudgy faces. Look at this. This artwork is so bad. No disrespect to the artist, to Flint Henry, but wow, man, he is not good when it comes. His backgrounds look great, and the way he draws Batman is really cool. But Man, oh man, this guy sucks at faces. I mean, look at this. This is just pudgy faces all over the place. Man-Bat looks terrible. I would say the only character that looks great is freaking Batman, and the backgrounds look great too. But that's the only issue that has bad artwork. All the rest of here's artwork is pretty good. Neil Adams does a good job. Steve Ditko. Everybody does a great job. Heck, even the Legends Dark Knight annual has great artwork. Just a Man-Bat miniseries from second volume from 1986. It just has terrible artwork. But despite that, this is still good. It's got great writing to it too. And that's why I give this a 9 out of 10. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is episode number 393 and Doubleshot number 316. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.